serving up children on platters, drinking their blood, and pretending you're holy, and pretending there was a separation of church and state. Well, we know you, partners. It's just that the masses of the world didn't believe it. Now they're going to be smacked in the face with it, undeniably. Have fun. Some of you are not going to be able to walk the street. And some of you traders around us are going to find yourself all out of pocket too. Thought you got over, didn't you? Mm-hmm. It's called, in divine law and nature's law, it's called retribution justice. Mm-hmm. Something like that. Mm-hmm. Yes. Why don't y'all go back to your lessons and go look up Hermetic law? Hermes Trismegistus. Hermes thrice great. Thoth. Hikupta. Pata. Kupti. Have fun. I know a lot of you thought you was having fun, thought you was getting over.
So Will Ramirez says, do we have a consular court? What is the official outside support when challenged by interlopers?
This is what happens. The consular court is your state of mind. All of this is an exercise that you need to prepare actually for the milk of the cosmos in relationship to the great matriarchy, which is your mother, and the proper structure of government on a circular forum, i.e., you will be dealing with council order and not some president. President's office is being dissolved. There'll be no more presidents operating at the Maghreb. So even those who thought that they was getting together and they're going to take people's finance and start dealing with these de facto operators and get something, you ain't getting crap. Because the platforms of government are being dissolved. You better be prepared to deal with a galactic order. And galactic also means mother's milk. So I'm talking on multiple levels.
Well, so I don't know if this is Prince Musa Bey says, can we start a sundry petition?
You don't need to petition anything. You need to be active. Let's put it this way, with all due respect. Remember, our writs and averments and quo warrantos and habeas corpus, etc., presented to the de facto operators pretending to be government, these imposter criminals, were for an exercise for us to get back in the proper state of mind. Meanwhile, these people are going to be dismantled. Now you must start preparing yourself intellectually and competently for self-determination, i.e. self-government, in a more moral and ethical state of mind and platform. However, the platforms that were will be no more. Let us be clear on that.
So Mr. Dark Element asks, does the Patriot Act supersede the Constitution?
No action by a de facto body creates any office, any obligation, nor authority. That is your answer.
That would be a no. Okay. So Enlightened Asiatic says, yes, Grand Sheik, they're using so-called patriots to help cover up.
Exactly, they are. A lot of them are telling a lot of truth, but they ain't telling all the truth. That's where you come in. Because remember, they're still trying to what? Maintain control of your lost estate. And I repeat what I said earlier. It must be comprehended that we, the copper complexion, woolly-headed, Sabian Moors, are the Americans of the land. Hybrids are American corporation citizens, distinguished from nationals or nativity. For we are nationals of the womb. They are citizens of a dead corporation called Trading Company, American Trading Company. It is a legal construct that is extinct. Now that has to be worked out, doesn't it? It ain't like we didn't have treaties with them. They could have honored the treaty and the Constitution. They were given much. But they were greedy, selfish, and evil by choice. Think they was going to kill off the heirs and take everything. Certainly all their policies and their history, including Executive Order 11490, Rex 84 plan, and Agenda 21 and Agenda 20 or 30 all indicate those same principles of unum sanctum and dum diversas, which did not change, and their doctrine of discovery. Would you think that our ancestors are without power? Well, think what you will, but experience what you're going to.
So Malik Bey asks, what's the remedy for us declared Moors to enlighten our unconscious Moors in order to be saved, or start holding these Europeans accountable? If we have no unity, then we will continue to suffer.
Oh, you're correct. That's part of the pain instruction. Remember, we evolve by experience, don't we? Didn't Prophet Noble Ali bring us remedy 113, 14 years ago or more? Yes, he did. Didn't he tell us to enforce the Constitution? Yes, he did. Did the Moors do that? No, they marched around following these so-called 32-degree Mason ministers, preachers who were infiltrated by the CIA into our organizations under COINTELPRO, following after the 14th Amendment straw man, thinking they were going to capture the straw and get some rights, didn't they? Didn't work, did it? In other words, like this: your, my, and our activity in rebutting and rejecting Rome, truthfully, according to divine law, for the most part, is pretty much what's necessary. All the rest will fall in place. Stop consenting to Rome's operations.
Here's a question. Ace Johnny says, why does Taharka Bey say that you are teaching misinformation? Wow.
Oh, that's fine. Let him prove it. In other words, like if I say that 1 and 1 is 8, that can be proven because a person who says it's not true can give you information that proves it's not untrue, correct? If you notice that many of the people who talk trash about what I've been telling the people, they never say I'm a liar. And they never bring information to the contrary and say, this is what it is as opposed to this. Examine it, and here's your sources, and here's your resources. When I tell you something, 90% of the time, I will give you reference point. So you can research it yourself. Remember, those of you who have been sharing with us over the years know that I do not promote leader-follower type mentality. I promote people taking responsibility, people restoring their library, research, analysis, cross-analysis, etymology, and know and learn for yourself. Then come together with others of positive mind to get something done. And if you notice, I don't sit around talking about these people who are trolls, because many of them, if they didn't spend their time talking about me, they wouldn't have a platform, because they themselves have produced little to nothing. And this includes many of the people among so-called conscious Moors who have been criticized in consular court. People who know me over the years, and even some of these critics, have used my information to bring remedy to themselves, even in these fake and criminal de facto platforms. How many of them have you known who have any track record whatsoever, publicly taking a stand for the Moors or putting their neck on the line, going among these hybrids, standing in defense of these Moors? Probably one or two, but for the most of them, they've been talking trash and have never put their necks on the line for the people, never stood in the court challenging the jurisdiction. But they got a lot to say, don't they? Let their works speak for themselves. Let my works speak for themselves, for itself. I have a track record. Study their track record and see if they go rise above ego and narcissism. They spend more time trying to get donations from people. They don't produce crap. How many of them people even like Tarik? Yes, brother. Talk big trash, got titles, and have not produced one piece of literature to help the people. And the prophet Noble Drawley, who these fakers keep saying they love, said, in order to change the people, you must change their literature. And what is the other rule? With all organized philosophical platforms or Gnostic platforms, for anyone to hold the title, they must produce literature, and it must be available for cross-reference and critique of other scholars. That's a fact, all you fake PhDs.
Visionary, these questions are going very, very fast. So if I didn't ask your question, you might want to repost it. Trying to get them. I don't know how. I'm not ignoring anyone, but I'm trying to pick up questions as fast as I see them.
Yeah, and we do apologize because it's moving so, the screen is moving so fast that it's hard for it to keep up.
You have to. They disappeared. What they don't realize is that the questions will disappear, and I can't go back up and get them.
Yes, by the time we address one, you have 8 or 9 more questions or statements coming up.
They disappear on our screen, so I cannot get to all of them. So whatever. Let me see. Okay, so here's one. Marcus King asks, will it still be possible to run and operate our self-employed businesses that are in the public as a Moorish American sovereign, being in the private? I'm reading it as it is. I'm reading it.
Let's make this clear. Human hominidae are sovereign by divine right, having nothing to do with structured government. Are we clear about that? When you become a part of any organized governmental political body, some of your sovereignty under conditions and restrictions are afforded under a constitutional makeup, etc., and a treaty is also constitution principle, and delegated to a chosen body to exercise such sovereignty under constricted and delegated conditions. However, the sovereign divine right always reverts to the natural, living, sentient man and woman, not citizen. Citizen is a construct or ens legis construct, conditional under limited constitutional exchange with alleged delegated persons acting as government via a constitution and limited to that constitution. Any institution, entity, or organization, i.e., that has any constitutional legitimacy or validity or veracity must be a creature of the Constitution. If it is not, it is absolute fraud, and anyone exercising it is a criminal fraud, etc. Those fundamentals should be known and practiced and maintained and promoted by all of us in our social, economic, and political relationships with each other. If forgotten, you end up being a servant to criminal operators, which is what has been happening to the people on the planet in these last hundreds of years.
I'm trying to go back and find questions. Okay, here's one. Visionary ask, the county clerks have a constitutional oath. Why do they keep asking for filing fees to enter the documents into the record?
This is because they are de facto. Let's get this very clear. Everybody that's pleased on this call, please research the Organic Act of Congress 1871, February the 2nd. Also, for those of you who have gotten the flash drive from Dr. G over these last year and a half or two, go look up House Joint Resolution 192, 73rd Congress, in session, June the 5th, 1933, and get it very clear that these people who are operating government at North America are de facto distinguished from de jure. They are impersonating, distinguished from veracity of operations. You get nothing from criminals but criminal activity. The call to humanity for enforcing the Constitution is us taking responsibility, reclaiming our divine sovereignty. And in no such thing as the oxymoron sovereign citizen. That is BS. And enforcing your Constitution, etc. That is both those principles in organized government, also those principles of your salts and your food intake harmonic with nature. For the Constitution enforcement is on multiple levels. That's what is to be done to restore things. Because remember, as you enforce Constitution principles, the straw instrumentality that operate on the stock market that fund their operation dies. You cannot capture the straw. They will never allow it. They are absolute criminal dishonor. You kill the straw by choking it. And as interested that the people are in restoring their lost estate, as it has been for the criminal operators who own the United States Corporation Company that went bankrupt in 2019 again, you must be as interested and as dedicated to restore your right of estate as they have been to steal it. That is the remedy for us all. Therefore, it is the responsibility and the duty of every man, every woman, and even the children, every child, to confess their own and worship under their own vine and fig tree and claim right of their estate to be heritable by law. That's a fact.
So J. Kane asks, the Albions used indigenous lands as collateral for loans from China. Since the U.S. is bankrupt, Can China come take indigenous lands? Have heard that California was given away to China. Is this true?
This has been happening also in Utah, also in Nevada. However, keep in mind, the fraud that's constructed by another cannot stand in law relative to the estate of another unwilling, unknowing, or uncooperative and non-consenting party.
So is it not
human
true?
Trafficking and war crimes against humanity and treason all are sealed with what is called death. So a lot of this conflict that you see between the hybrid Europeans who have been pretending to be Americans and their argument against the Manchurian families under the corporate name of China, most of whom are not Chinese. Ha 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 ha.